we have the most almost unprecedented event of having two politicians actually come in under time. And our third speaker is Ben Quin, an independent candidate for Lyons. Please welcome Ben to the podium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I feel somewhat a fraud to be standing here tonight because I'm not a politician. I am a candidate, and I still find myself quite surprised after 3.5 years as the Liberal candidate, one election as the Liberal candidate under my belt, to be speaking as an independent. I'll take a little bit of a different tack in my discussion tonight than either Bob or Helen did, because for the last 3.5 years my job was to be in touch with the mood of the electorate of Lyons, and I believe that as a candidate you roughly have to spend 80% of your time listening quietly and about 20% talking. And I am sincerely of the view, having travelled extensively through Lyons, that the majority opinion still stands against the pulp mill in the Tamar Valley. Now, up until the time that the project was removed from the RPDC, under what the public does consider to be questionable circumstances, the public mood was not finally made up. But there was, on the day that that project was removed from the RPDC, an absolute collapse of public confidence, which to this day has not been restored. And I think it quite ridiculous for any politician to suggest that somehow we can remove the issue of the process and the public confidence that went with the process from the project itself. But in fact, the subsequent fast tracking did exactly that, and the public mood has not been restored. And in fact, this whole process has raised more questions than it has answered. In my opinion, there is a clear public idea that this should not be in the Tamar Valley. That is clear to me. Less clear are the questions of whether the discharge should go to Bass Strait, and here I'm reporting the public mood, not my own opinion. Less clear is the matter of the scale of the mill and how much forestry resource should be contributed to a project of this nature. But it is absolutely clear to me that throughout Tasmania, or throughout the electorate of Lyons, nobody believes that the Tamar Valley is an appropriate site. Now, given that Guns has said that it is the Tamar Valley or nowhere, it would appear that this is one of the critical elements in the debate before the public right now. I think that the other elements of the economic and social and environmental aspects of that IIS undervalued everything apart from how the Tamar Valley was the most suitable place for guns, and no doubt it is. As on a simple economic analysis, that location is, for this project, the most efficient location. But I think if we were truthful about the other aspects of that analysis, another location might suggest itself readily. So that's one key issue. The second issue, I think, which relates to the location, is that it removes a great deal of flexibility about winding future technologies into the project at all. It is locked there. It cannot move in any other direction. And that loss of flexibility as a location is something that the public is very alarmed about. But the last thing, and the matter that finally forced my hand, apart from the fact that I was insisting on representing the public mood and was being ignored in my party, but for me personally, the issue that forced my hand was that the matter of the wood supply agreement, which is clearly critical to the success or failure of the project itself, was not in the public domain at the time that the final approvals at both state and federal level were given to this project. And I questioned within my party, and then publicly, how it was that any person standing for election to a public office could endorse a project that utilised hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars economically of public resource, let alone the things Bob was talking about, without having one skerrick of information to consider on behalf of the public. And in fact, that question still stands in my mind. I'm still deeply suspicious that this project is entirely underpinned economically and its risk underwritten by Tasmania's public forests. And beyond that point, it is not in any way reactive to the known future that we have of these increasing constraints of water and carbon emissions. And I think it is an historically abysmal decision from our elected representatives to ignore those two matters, let alone the things of biodiversity and discharged marine environment, and to remove from this state any flexibility to respond over the next 20 years to this future that most of us know that we have to react to. So as an independent now, I won't put up with that. It finally did push me as the Liberal candidate to that point where I just couldn't hold my peace anymore. And I will run to this election, particularly attempting to expose the fraud that every candidate for the Liberal and Labor Party in the Senate or the House of Representatives has willingly brought on the public. They had no information, and they signed off hundreds of millions of dollars of public resource without that information in their hands. I would not have done it as a businessman, and I would never do it as a public representative. So finally, I had to argue that I just won't give up the right, in the spirit of party unity, to speak about issues that I believe are in the public interest. And that's where I stand.